يعني a description. Or this is mentioning the benefit itself. Or describing it, يعني you go to a tailor and you tell him, I want you to make me here's the fabric, and I want you to make me a shirt this color with this number of buttons, with this pocket, this kind of pocket, this kind of color. This is description of benefit. That is ijara too. Okay, ijara. You are paying for the benefit. You're gonna pay this tailor to tailor or to fabricate this shirt for you. الشرط الثاني ومعرفة أجرته. And you need to specify the rent. How much? So if you're renting an apartment, how much? If you're hiring someone to do you a service, how much? If you hire if you're gonna pay a tailor to make you the shirt, how much? Now if you pay attention that when I said the tailor, I mentioned you take the fabric. What if you don't?
It's not
what is it? We called it, we talked about it before. Even some of the ulama forbid this contract. Because you're paying for something you don't know of. It doesn't exist. You know, remember? It's called عقد استثناء. It's called عقد استثناء. And like, remember the Prophet ﷺ asked someone to make him the minbar. We gave that example. Okay? So some of the ulama said, you cannot buy something, and when you pay the tailor for something that he doesn't have yet. Some of the ulama said that is buying something that doesn't exist, and that is not allowed. You know? So that's where, but that is where they said the right opinion is yes, it's permissible. And we said it's like close to ijara, but it's not exactly. That's why I said you take the fabric for him, then it becomes aqd ijara. But the other contract is also permissible. Yani you come to a carpenter and you tell him, I want you to make me a closet. Here is $500 down payment. That is fine. Okay? But some of the ulama said, because you're buying it, at the end you're going to buy it. You're going to own it. So they said you cannot buy something that doesn't exist. Yani on his part, he cannot sell you something that doesn't exist. Alright? And he's selling fish in the water. Huh? Alright? So it's very important. So الشرط الثاني معرفة الأجرة. How much? يعني how much you're going to pay him, you have to know. ومعرفة قدر الأجرة. And the third opinion or the third condition is نفع العين يعني يكون مباح. What you're paying for, يعني the service or the benefit, it has to be permissible benefit, as we have mentioned in the definition. شروط العين المؤجرة. قال المؤلف وإن وقعت على عين فلا بد من معرفتها. Now we are talking about renting a place, renting something, renting a car, renting a piece of equipment, renting يعني an object for you to use, and then you take it back. Okay? So that is what they are talking about. So وإن وقعت على عين فلا بد من معرفتها. يعني you have to know what you're renting. وإجارة العين تنقسم إلى قسمين. When you rent specific thing, it's divided into two types. إما إجارة يعني إجارة على وقت أو إجارة على عمل. يعني when you rent the benefit, you either rent it, you agree on a specific period length, you're renting it for a specific length, or you're renting for specific service. Okay? So for example, you rent a house. A house, when you rent it, you usually rent it for a specific time. When you hire someone, usually you hire someone for specific job. Okay? So those are the two types of ijarat. Or you're renting a car. When you rent a car, can be for a time, and it can be for a specific mission, a specific job you want to get done. Okay, I want a car that's gonna drive me from here to let's say you rent a truck to transport some stuff from here to there, from Miami to Orlando. So that is on the job. Okay, you're paying for the job. You're renting the car, or you're paying for the service for the job to get done. All right. So all these things can be divided into that. قال ومن استأجر شيئا فله أن يقيم مقامه من يستوفيه بإجارته أو غيرها إذا كان مثله أو دونه ومن استأجر شيئا فإنه قد ملك منفعته. This is the subleasing thing. If you rent something and you pay for its benefit, then you have the right to rent it as well, because the benefit belongs to you now. You own the benefit that comes out of this thing you're renting. So since it belongs to you, you have the right to rent it to someone else. Okay? So if you rent an apartment in Islam, you have the right to sublease it. But the ulama put conditions. Because you don't rent a place that is designed very well to be, let's say, a nice restaurant, and you go rent it for someone who's going to use it for someone who's a carpenter. You're going to destroy it. So when you sublease, it has to be either to the level of harm that you might cause, okay, or less. Again, you rent an apartment. This apartment is designed for a family of husband, wife, and one kid, because there is a lot of handcrafts, mancrafts, whatever, a lot of design, a lot of expensive stuff in the apartment. You can go and rent it to someone who has a wife and a kid, but don't go and rent it to someone who has 10 kids, because the harm definitely gonna be more. Okay? You cannot rent it to, let's say, maybe people you know they're gonna destroy it. So when you sublease, you have to sublease to certain service. The people who are gonna sublease it, they're gonna use it in the same fashion that you would have used it if you stayed in it, or less of the usage. Okay, that is very important. قال المؤلف فإن زرع ما هو أكثر منه ضررا أو خالف ضرره فعليه أجرة المثل. Now he gives you an example. I gave you the house, the apartment. He gives you more specific example. That you rented a piece of land, a farm. So you can plant something in it. So when he rented it to you, the owner, he gave you a specific amount of rent, the money based on you planting it, let's say wheat, قمح. So you took it, you signed the contract, you went and you said, you know what, I'm gonna plant it dhura, corn. No, it's known for the farmers and people who have experience in this that corn really suck the nutrition and destroy the turba more than wheat. And if he would have known, if you would have told him you're gonna use it for corn, he would have charged you more, because when you leave, it's gonna cost him more to get the land the way it was. So what in this situation, you can stay in the land, but you have to pay the difference. You become responsible for the difference. Remember we said, you took it to plant wheat, and then you subleased it to someone who planted corn. Okay? We said you can sublease it, but the harm has to be the same or less. Since corn will cause more harm to the ground, now you did not abide the condition of subleasing. So what is the solution? We say, okay, for example, this piece of land, if you would rent it to someone to plant wheat, the price, the market price, you usually charge him $2,000. But if you want to rent the same land for